Ooh. Oh, very interesting. Well, before we get started, what if I told you that the phone that I've got right here can outperform the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra? Pretty cool, right? Well, let's unbox it and then let's talk about it. Inside our package from ASUS, I received an ROG 7 body dummy in Storm White, but it also comes in Phantom Black. And actually, it sort of reminds us of that year that Samsung made all of their phones Phantom this and Phantom that. Do you remember that? Comment below and tell us your favorite phone color that you've ever seen. We also received a screen protector and devil case for the standard ROG Phone 7, but the package we all want to see is the ASUS ROG Phone 7 Ultimate. As always, ASUS provided a great unboxing experience, and it starts with the box itself. The Ultimate box is actually made from biomass and is 100% recyclable, so that's kind of cool. And it features the company's Easter egg, which is magnetically attached to the box and acts as a neat little hinge. Inside the box, you'll find a minimal case, if you can call it that. It's got more holes than Swiss cheese, but at least it'll protect the edges of your phone. You get the ROG 7 Phone Ultimate, peeling back more layers, and you will find a braided USB-C to C cable, a 65-watt wall adapter, which enables the phone's Hypercharge 65 while providing USB PD 3.0 and Quick Charge 5.0 rates. There's also a travel pouch and the new AeroActive Cooler 7, which you can store in that handy pouch. The AeroActive Cooler 7 is really, well, cool. I couldn't think of a better word for it because it's got a bunch of really cool tricks. It attaches to the back of the phone, connects through the USB-C accessory port, and locks into place. The best part about the active ROG Cooler 7, though, it's not just a cooler. Unlike the last gen of cooler for the ROG 6, the AeroActive Cooler 7 is also a sound system. Through its USB plug and into the side of the ROG Phone 7 Ultimate, you get a 2.1 channel portable sound system, 13 by 38mm subwoofer, and they say that it gets 77% stronger bass performance, which is kind of cool. New is the 3.5mm pass-through jack to plug headphones directly through the cooler. You also get 4 trigger buttons on the back, which are really neat to handle because you can feel the air against your fingertips, cooling off your hands at the same time and having some fun gaming. And you get some different cooling modes depending if you're powering your unit from the phone or plugging into an external power source. Directly from the phone, you will get a basic cooling mode and frosty mode, but if you plug in through an external power source, you can up that to max cooling mode called frozen. We're gonna talk more about the cooler later in the video though, so stick around. Okay, next, we need to try out the Easter egg. I thought it was kind of interesting that you have to place the phone into the cardboard holster to engage the Easter egg. Basically, the only thing that the cardboard cutout does is used for starting up your engines, picking your destination, and then heading into an intergalactic mission to blow up some space rocks. I love the haptic feedback of this phone, and it lives up to its name, the Republic of Gamers Phone 7, and it definitely sets the stage for what the ROG 7 does best, which is gaming. The air triggers felt really great and extremely responsive after I blasted my way through outer space. I just wish more games utilized these buttons. Overall, I felt that this was a really cool Easter egg, and at the end of it, you get a new phone theme based on the character 7 to adorn your phone. Great job, ASUS. It was a really fun Easter egg. That's enough about that. Let's actually get to reviewing these phones. So back to business and back to the studio. We have the standard ROG 7 here and the 7 Ultimate, both in white with some really cool little graphics and things like that going on for it. So they look pretty similar colors, but the standard ROG 7, it also comes in 2 different RAM options. You get 12 gig or 16 gig RAM options, with both of those sporting 512 gig storage and a few less tricks up his sleeve than the Ultimate. The ROG 7 features a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 with 3.2 gigahertz CPU. It has 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of non-expandable UFS 4.0 storage. You also get symmetrical front-facing stereo speakers, and it runs Android 13 with 2 years of OS commitments from ASUS, along with brand new this year, 4 years of security updates. So you're no longer stuck with a 2+2, you get a 2+4, which hopefully continues to get better in the future. On top of that, you get IP54 weather and splash resistance, including when you've got this little tricky doodad here open. We'll get to that in a second. The battery is dual 3000 milliamp hour cells, making for a total of 6000 milliamp hour battery. Pre-release testing says that it gets a full charge in 96 minutes, which honestly isn't too bad considering the size of this battery. You also get ROG Vision, which is this cool little screen on the back here. ROG Vision has options for, external accessory connections, X mode enabled, general graphic animations. You can see incoming phone calls. You can have it display your time. You can customize all of that. It's an ROG phone, so why wouldn't you be able to? You can do all of that by going to the Armor crate. Then you hit ROG Vision and all of your options are there in the settings. Now, when it comes to display performance, the screen size is actually the same as the ROG 6 Pro. You have Gorilla Glass Victus display. It can hit 1500 nits of peak brightness. You get refresh rates that can be chosen by game on a game-by-game basis to customize your experience, and it will give you anywhere from 60 to 165 Hertz refresh rate. But it drops down to 30 Hertz for the always-on display to save you some battery. Just like the ROG 6 Pro, the 7 Ultimate won't feature Qi wireless charging, but more than half of you don't even care about wireless charging anyways, so not much of a loss, especially since you'll likely want to hook up your Air intercooler for those longer gaming sessions anyways. So it's a gaming phone. But when it comes to cameras, you might say, well, Ryan, I'm using this as a gaming phone, it doesn't matter that much. But when it comes to the cameras, you get pretty much the same stuff as you did last year. You get the 50 megapixel main binning down to 12 megapixels, you get a 13 megapixel ultra wide and a 5 megapixel macro lens. It's worth telling you about the cameras, but they aren't really much to write home about, and that's okay because it's not really what a gaming phone is all about. If you'd like to see a full breakdown of the cameras and how they performed, be sure to check out our full review at androidauthority.com. Now, I did kind of hint that there were some special tricks that this phone here could do compared to the standard ROG 7. And the trick up the sleeves of the Ultimate, and the one thing that really sets the Ultimate apart from the standard, is its built-in AeroActive portal cooling system that opens up a door on the phone to allow for cool air from the AeroActive Cooler 7 into the system for maximizing its cooling efficiency. ASUS said that this little window is made up of 50 mechanical parts and is tested for over 40,000 opens and closes. What it does is allow air to be focused around the internals of the phone and the display efficiently. Like I said before, up to 8 degrees cooler for the display and 25 degrees cooler for the internals. ASUS had made note that even with the AeroActive portal open on the phone, it will still get you IP54 weather resistance. But our understanding is that the AeroActive Cooler itself is not weather resistant at all. So maybe just avoid playing games in the rain or in the shower or in the middle of a dust storm for that matter. This phone doesn't come without questions though. There were some people that were asking why ASUS decided on such a quick release of a new ROG since the last one only came out in September. ASUS was asked why they chose to release the phone now with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and not wait for a Plus variant. The reason for this was a high level of confidence in Gen 2 and made it an easy decision, not to mention that ASUS has already gifted the Ultimate moniker to the Snapdragon variant, something that they had reserved for the MediaTek ROG 6D version of the phone last year. It just solidifies their commitment to this Snapdragon platform, and it's proven out in the benchmarks that my colleague Rob Triggs ran. In ROG 7's X mode, the phone outperforms all others, including the overclocked Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. The handset flies through Geekbench 6, PC Mark 3.0, and 3D Mark graphic benchmarks with flying colors. There's quite a difference between X mode disabled though and enabled. Still, that ensures healthy optimization for robust battery life during everyday use, and then maximizing on your gaming performance when you want it. So there isn't really much to worry about with regards to dropping frames or overheating. The ROG 7 phone can handle it like a champ. With a global launch planned, ASUS is backing the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 as the best performing chipset available, and our tests agree. That doesn't mean though that we won't see a MediaTek or an 8 Plus Gen 2 variant in the future, but you won't hit pause on a purchase just to wait and see. And getting down to the meat and potatoes here, overall, I think that this is actually a pretty exciting bit of news for the US gaming community because arguably the ROG 6D Ultimate was the best and hottest in the line, and you couldn't get that one stateside. Hot isn't a good thing though, and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 definitely runs way cooler than the Dimensity 9000 Plus chip, which, to be honest, was pretty darn hot. So if you aren't bothered by the AeroActive Cooler ventilation or the ROG Vision on the back of the phone, you can confidently save yourself a few bucks here and drop down to the standard ASUS ROG 7. The ROG 7 starts at 999 euros for the 12 gig variant, while the Ultimate comes in at an ultimate price of 1399 euro, including the cooler system. Now, we don't have pricing yet for the US launch. That's gonna come a little bit later, and there will most likely be an announcement on that, and we'll pin it to the comment below once the pricing comes for the US. But right now, that's the pricing that we have. Harley, what do you think? Like if you were looking at like a $400 difference between these two phones here, right? You get some cool little like graphic-y things if you're into that, or you could just have a phone that has all the power of this phone for, you know, a few $100s less. This one here, this phone beats the S23 Ultra, so that tells you what you need to know. Dropping the mic on that one. And if you're watching this hoping that I'm gonna tell you to ditch your ROG 6 and grab the ROG 7, well, there just is not enough difference between the two phones to make that call. In my opinion, it's not worth looking to upgrade, but if you're looking for a gaming phone for the first time or it's been a while, this might just be the phone that you've been waiting for. But I wanna know what you think. Would you be springing for the ASUS ROG Phone 7 Ultimate, or are you eyeing something a little different? Let me know in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe for more. Until next time, guys, I'm Ryan from Authority Media. Be kind, and we'll see you soon.